Hello and welcome to ModKit. In this episode, we'll be looking at the dystopian FPS RPG, Deus Ex. Deus Ex is widely regarded as one of the greatest games in its genre. Being built on the original Unreal Engine 1, it is many generations out of date from the current Unreal Engine. With some modification, we're able to improve the lighting and the texture detail of the game. This guide will be broken up into 4 sections. First, we'll look at getting the game to run on a modern system. Then we'll look at any additional mods that can be made to the game to improve its graphics, followed by any customization of the game. And finally, I'll cover any total conversion mods for Deus Ex. First, you'll need to know where you've got your copy of Deus Ex from. This can be from many retailers such as GOG, Steam and others. Some of the mods included in this guide will change the minimum requirements for the game. So this means operating systems like Windows XP might not be supported. The renderer chosen in this guide also requires a DirectX 10 graphics card, although this isn't mandatory and you can use any other graphics card with a different renderer. Next, you're going to need to work out where your copy of the game is installed. GOG and other copies might let you choose where you can install the game, whereas with Steam versions you can find where Steam installs its games by going through the steps here. While in Steam, go to the Steam button at the top left, then click Settings, followed by Downloads and Steam Library folders. The directory your games are stored will be listed here. If you have a boxed copy of the game, you may need to install the latest patch before beginning. This will be linked in the description. Another thing to consider is that currently the revision mod is in development and may be released soon. The revision mod includes many of the improvements shown in this guide, along with altered level design, soundtrack and much more. When released, it will likely be the definitive way of playing the original Deus Ex. The simplest way of getting Deus Ex to work on a modern PC is to install the DeusEx mod. This section is included here to help people who want to just play the game without any additional modifications. It will be repeated again later in the additional mods section as part of that guide. To install, simply copy the contents of the download into your Deus Ex system folder. When starting the game, a launcher will now appear in which you can make changes to the settings, such as checking your resolution and improving the colour depth of the game. Before we begin adding additional mods to the game, you'll first need to determine which renderer you're going to use. The choices are DirectX 10, 9, OpenGL and DirectX 9 with ENB. All have their own pros and cons, and most will be installed automatically as we install further mods. This guide will be covering the installation of DirectX 10 versions. Only ENB requires additional steps which would require copying the ENB mod to the folder. The first mod we'll be installing is a New Vision mod. The New Vision mod is a fairly comprehensive texture pack that improves the graphical qualities of the game's textures. Most textures see a massive increase in resolution. Installation is as simple as running the installer and selecting the Deus Ex directory. None of the additional options need to be used. The next mod, HDTP, improves models within the game. This can be crates, weapons, and even character models, which are optional. The installer simply needs pointing to the Deus Ex directory, after which you can then choose which render you would like to use. When asked about changing the DeusEx.ini, select Yes. The mod should now be installed. Unified Deus Ex combines a couple of mods, the 2 main graphical ones being the improvement of UI elements and the UI scaling. It also includes game mods such as Shifter, which can be disabled. To use the mod, you will also need a resolution greater than 1600 by 900, otherwise the scaling may be too high, along with the DirectX 10 renderer. You will need 7-zip to extract the .7z file. From here, copy the System and Textures folders and paste them into the main directory of Deus Ex. You'll then need to go into the System folder. From here, copy the DeusEx.u file, go back up to the main Deus Ex directory, go into the HDTP directory, followed by System, and paste and overwrite. The final mod we'll install is the DeusExe mod. Simply copy the 4 files from the directory into your DeusEx system directory. We can then do our first start of the game. HDTP may have made a shortcut, in which case you should not use this. Once launched, click Configure. In here are some of the main settings for the game. If you installed Unified DeusEx, tick OTP Scaling Fix. Raw input can be ticked to improve mouse responsiveness. You can also choose your renderer, in this case I'm using DirectX 10. Choose your resolution, and select 32-bit color as your quality setting. Press OK to confirm. You should also check data directories and ensure that the HDTP folder and the New Vision folder are selected. You should then start the game to create the config files. Once started, you may want to make changes to the settings. To modify the INIs, start the DeusEx launcher, then click DeusEx.ini in the bottom right corner. You may be asked which program you wish to open it with, in which case choose Notepad. Go down to the D3D10 DRV section. In here, change Anisotropic from 8 to 16, ParalaxOcclusionMapping to True, ClassicLighting to False, AlphaToCoverage to True, simulateMultipassTexturing to False as True causes issues, and if you have performance to spare, UnlimitedViewDistance to True. If you want to disable the gameplay changes added by the Unified DeusEx mod, copy and paste the changes below into the DeusEx.DeusExGameInfo section. Go back to the DeusEx launcher and click User.ini. Copy and paste the HDTP changes from the description into the bottom of the DeusEx.DeusExPlayer section. This will enable most of the optional character models, minus the MJ12 and the Anna models. DeusEx is also home to a lot of great total conversion mods as well. These completely replace the story and sometimes the gameplay and features of the game. Some of the best examples are the Nameless mod and DeusEx Nihilum. When installing such mods, you may not be able to use most of the additional mods, therefore a basic install may be better. The most important results of these changes can be seen in the improved resolution of the game. Simply by making the game widescreen with a correct aspect ratio, it makes the game feel more modern. Colourful areas of the game such as Hong Kong really benefit from the textures and lighting changes, making the game feel more at night. Overall, the improvements are fairly essential, making this classic game still playable today. Thanks for watching.